your hands on your head, mate. Hand on your head. Do not move. If you move or attempt to touch me, my colleague will tase you. Do you understand? Do not move that other hand.
Bearing in mind that your mental disorder has already been taken into account as part of step 1. First, the fact that you have no previous convictions, though it is clear that you have possessed knives previously. And secondly, your relatively young age. I am clear that the aggravating factors substantially outweigh the mitigating factors. This leads me to conclude that there should be a significant increase from the 14-year starting point to a notional sentence prior to credit for guilty plea and subject to step 5 of 18 years imprisonment. This brings me to step 4, namely the appropriate reduction that should be made to reflect the fact that you have pleaded guilty to the attempted murder offence. In this respect, I have had regard to the Sentencing Council's reduction in sentence for a guilty plea guideline. Since you did not enter a guilty plea at the first stage of proceedings, which I take to be the hearing which was listed for the 27th of November 2025, and instead waited until the hearing on the 8th of January 2026 before deciding to plead guilty, the appropriate reduction for guilty plea is 25% rather than the 1/3, which would have been available had you pleaded guilty on the 27th of November 2025. As a result, the notional 18-year sentence prior to credit for guilty plea is, subject to step 5, reduced to 13 years and 6 months imprisonment. Turning to step 5, this requires the court to consider the matter of dangerousness and specifically whether it is appropriate that there be a life sentence. I am entirely satisfied that this is the position in your case. Having regard to Section 285 of the Sentencing Act 2020, you present a significant risk to members of the public of serious harm occasioned by the commission of further specified offences, and the seriousness of the offence for which I am sentencing you is such as to justify the imposition of a life sentence. The minimum term is calculated by reducing the 13 years and 6 months notional determinate sentence to which I have referred by 1/3 to reflect the fact that you would have been entitled to be released at the 2/3 point of that determinate sentence had it been the sentence imposed on you. Accordingly, the minimum term is 9 years imprisonment, from which will be deducted the 568 days which you have already spent on remand in custody, so that the minimum term which you will serve is 7 years and 162 days. Please stand. For the offence of attempted murder, I sentence you to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 7 years and 162 days imprisonment, and I direct, under the provisions of Section 45A of the Mental Health Act 1983, that in the light of the psychiatric evidence, namely Professor Blackwood, Dr. Nabi and Dr. Alcock, the criteria for a hospital order are met. And so instead of being removed to and detained in a prison, you will be readmitted to and detained at Broadmoor High Security Hospital. You will be subject to the special restrictions set out in Section 41 of the Mental Health Act 1983. What this means is that you will be detained in hospital for as long as necessary. If and when it is no longer necessary, you will be transferred to prison. Once in prison, you will serve the remainder of the sentence which I have imposed. As for the minimum term which I have identified, this is the minimum term which you will serve in custody before the parole board may first consider your possible release. The parole board will then decide whether you can leave custody at that stage, and if so, on what terms. If you are refused parole at that time, you will remain in custody, subject to regular reviews by the parole board. If and when you are released, you will be on licence for the rest of your life. If you break the terms of your licence, you will be liable to return to custody. In addition to the conditions on your licence, you will also be subject to the conditions of your release from hospital. As for the 2 counts of possession of a bladed article in a public place, you are sentenced to 6 months imprisonment in respect of each of these counts, each of those sentences being made concurrent with the sentence in respect of the attempted murder count. You will also have to pay the statutory surcharge. Go with the officers.
Firstly, as a family, we're immensely indebted to those members of the public, emergency services, air ambulance and NHS who saved my life. During our recovery as a family, the public messages of support and that of the Army, wider defence and various charities were invaluable to us. Thank you. We are so grateful to Detective Inspector Lee Neils and his incredible team from Kent Police for the hours obtaining and reviewing all the evidence, along with the support they have provided over the last 18 months. We're highly appreciative the Crown Prosecution Service and our amazing barrister Alison Morgan KC for representing our case so eloquently, and we want to thank the Honourable Mr Justice Picken for taking the time in reaching his decision. We welcome the sentence that has been handed to my attacker today, as it reflects the incredible bank of evidence gathered by the police and presented by our barrister of the premeditation and planning involved in the attack against myself, an officer wearing British military uniform. Knife attacks do not just impact the victim, they impact the families and communities where attacks occur. We feel the pain caused by every knife attack that we see on the news, and our thoughts will always be with those affected. We are immensely proud of our daughters for their strength and resilience, and thankful for the amazing friends and family who have provided immense support over the last 18 months. I won't be taking any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Yes. Detective Inspector Lee Neils from Kent Police's Major Crime Unit. Yes. Surname is Neiles. Lee. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Today, Anthony Esan has been sentenced to life imprisonment with hospital direction after pleading guilty to the attempted murder of Lieutenant Colonel Mark Teeton in Gillingham. Esan is an extremely dangerous man whose violent and unprovoked attack so nearly caused Mark's death. He was intent on killing Mark and did not care what effect it would have on his family, his friends, and everyone who witnessed this deeply distressing incident. Esan has provided no explanation or motive for his actions, but the evidence shows that he was intent on killing a uniformed soldier. What is certain is that he poses too great a risk to innocent members of the public, and I am therefore satisfied that following today's sentencing, he will be in custody for many years to come. Mark underwent a terrible ordeal, but has displayed tremendous dignity throughout this investigation and court case. I would like to pay tribute to Mark for his bravery throughout, as well as his wife Eileen, who rushed out of their house to push Esan away from a uniformed soldier under attack before she even realised it was her husband. This was a harrowing incident for all, and my thanks go to everyone who assisted with the Kent Police investigation and to the emergency responders who were very quick to reach Mark and help to save his life. Thank you.
Yeah, which one do you want though? This one.